I made repairs in my parents' house, but they refused to pay. "We gave this money for your sister's vacation," my mom said. Dad laughed, but I shocked them when I spent 2 months of my summer fixing up my parents' house. 2 months of waking up early, sweating through my clothes, and working late into the night. The place was falling apart when I started, cracked walls, leaking pipes, floors that creaked like they were about to give way. They couldn't afford a contractor, so they asked me to do it, promising to pay me $8,000 when I was done. It wasn't even much considering the amount of work, but I agreed because they were my parents. I didn't do anything half-assed. I put in new floors, repainted the whole house, fixed the electrical wiring so the lights wouldn't flicker like in a horror movie. I replaced their cabinets, fixed the roof, and even landscaped the front yard. When I was done, their house looked brand new. They were thrilled. So when I finally sat down with them in the living room expecting to get paid, I wasn't worried. My mom was pouring herself a cup of tea. My dad was stretched out on his recliner, looking like he didn't have a care in the world. Then my mom casually said, "Oh, honey, about the money, we gave it to Amanda for her vacation." I laughed. Actually, I laughed because for a second I thought she was joking. My dad chuckled a little too, like this was some kind of funny misunderstanding. "Yeah," he added, shaking his head like I was being silly. "Amanda and Josh really needed a break before the wedding. It's a stressful time for them." I stared at them, waiting for the part where they said, "Just kidding, here's your money." But that part never came. "You gave my money to Amanda?" I repeated, trying to wrap my head around it. "Well, technically it was our money," my mother said. "And we thought you wouldn't mind. Amanda's been under so much pressure with the wedding planning, and they just needed a little getaway. You always say you don't take vacations anyway, so it just made sense." Dad grinned and shook his head, like I was the one being unreasonable. I felt a cold pit in my stomach. "You promised to pay me." My mom sighed like I was being difficult. "And we will, eventually. But right now, Amanda needs it more. You understand, right?" I looked at my dad, hoping he'd say something, but he just leaned back in his chair, still grinning like this was a lesson I should learn. Then I said, "Well, then I hope you understand that I'm done doing anything for you." Her smile instantly disappeared. My mom's face fell as if I had just cursed her. My father sat up in his chair, no longer amused. They had expected me to be upset, maybe even argue a little, but they hadn't expected me to flat out say I was done with them. "Brian, don't be dramatic," my mother said. I stood up. "Dramatic? I worked on this house for 2 months, and you just gave my money away?" My dad scoffed. "It's not like you needed it right now." I laughed, but there was no humor in it. I wasn't going to waste my breath arguing with people who clearly didn't respect me. I walked out. They called after me, but I ignored them. A few days went by. I didn't return their calls or texts. I wasn't ready to deal with them. Then, out of the blue, Amanda called me. "Hey, Brian. Are you okay?" "You didn't answer Mom's calls." I kept my voice calm. "Did they tell you why?" She hesitated. "No, just that you were upset about something." Of course they didn't tell her. I sighed. "Amanda, do you know where they got the money for your vacation?" Silence. Then, "What do you mean?" "They gave you my payment. The money they owed me for fixing up their house." More silence. I could almost hear the gears turning in her head. "Wait. What?" "They promised me $8,000 for the work I did. Instead of paying me, they gave it to you and Josh for a trip." She was silent for so long I thought she had hung up. Then she whispered, "Oh my God. Brian, I didn't know." "I thought so. I'll pay you back. All of it." I hadn't expected that. "Amanda, you don't have to." "No," she interrupted. "I had no idea. If I had known, I wouldn't have taken a penny from them. I'll send it back to you today." I was stunned. Amanda and I had always been close, but I hadn't expected her to fix what wasn't her fault. True to her word, she sent the full $8,000 back to me that same day. Then, of course, all hell broke loose. That night, my phone rang again. It was Mom. I let it go to voicemail. 30 seconds later, Dad called. Then Mom again. Then a text. Mom, did Amanda send you money? Me, yes. She realized it wasn't hers. 10 seconds later, she called. I finally picked up. You had no right to take that money, she snapped. I actually laughed. Are you serious? You gave her my money. She gave it back to me. That's called righting a wrong. You made her do it. Amanda made her own decision. You should be proud. She actually knows the difference between right and wrong. She gasped as if I had just slapped her. Dad got on the phone. You're going to send her the money back. No. I hung up. And that's when I decided that if they were going to act like selfish, entitled people, maybe it was time they learned what it felt like to be on the receiving end. For the next few days, my parents went into full meltdown mode. They called me nonstop, left me voicemails, and sent me long, dramatic texts about how I was tearing the family apart over a few measly dollars. Dad even tried to send me a text that just said, "Give the money back. This is final." Final? Like he was my boss or something? I ignored it. Then, out of nowhere, my mom showed up at my apartment. I heard knocking, then the doorbell ringing over and over. I looked through the peephole. There she was, arms folded, looking pissed. I thought about not answering, but I knew she wouldn't leave. So I opened the door. She came in without waiting for an invitation. We need to talk. No, we really don't. She sighed dramatically and pulled out a folded piece of paper and handed it to me. It was a bill. For rent. I frowned. What is this? You lived in our house for 2 months while we renovated. You ate our food, used our electricity, slept under our roof. It's only fair that you contribute. I stared at her. You're charging me rent? After I spent 2 months fixing your house for free? You didn't do it for free. She shot back. We agreed on a price. And then Amanda needed the money. You can't just take it back. I laughed. That's funny because I can. And I did. She huffed. If you want to be petty about it, then yes, we'll charge you rent. It's only fair. I nodded slowly. Okay. Then I guess it's only fair that I charge you for the renovations. At contractor rates. She blinked. What? I pulled out my phone. Professional contractors charge about 50 grand for the work I did. Subtract the $8,000 you owed me, and you still owe me $42,000. She looked as if she'd swallowed a lemon. Brian, don't be ridiculous. I grinned. No. You're right. It's only fair. She opened and closed her mouth, then stood up. Your father will hear about this. Tell him I'll take checks or wire transfers. She stormed out. And that's when I had an idea. If they wanted to play dirty, I could play dirty. I still had every receipt from the renovation. The flooring, the plumbing, the cabinets, the new fixtures, all of it had been purchased under my name. Which meant, technically, they were mine. So the next day I drove over to her house. And I started taking things back. I drove up to my parents' house with a truck and a toolbox, ready to reclaim what was technically mine. I started with the simplest things. The new outdoor lights? Unscrewed and thrown in the truck. The fancy new house numbers I had installed? Popped right off. Then I went inside. I had my own key, so I let myself in while my parents were out. I went straight to the kitchen. Those brand new cabinets I had installed? Mine. I removed every single door, leaving them wide open and bare. The sleek, modern faucet I replaced it with? Gone. Back to the old, leaky one they used to complain about. I worked quickly, moving through the house like a one-man wrecking crew. Light fixtures? Uninstalled. Shelves? Taken down. I even removed the brand new shower head in their bathroom and replaced it with the rusty, low-pressure one they had before. Then I got to the flooring. The brand new hardwood floor that I spent weeks installing? The ones I personally paid for because they promised to pay me back? Yup. That too. I got down on my knees and started prying up the planks, being careful not to break them so I could reuse them elsewhere. When I had a whole corner of the living room done, I heard tires screeching in the driveway. Oh. The front door burst open. My dad stood there, red-faced, eyes bulging. My mom was right behind him, panting like she had walked into a crime scene. "What are you doing?" my dad yelled. I wiped the sweat from my forehead. "Oh, just getting back what I paid for." "You can't do that," my mom screamed. I stood up, holding one of the wooden planks. "Sure I can. Look, I bought all this. My name is on the receipts. So technically, this is my flooring." My father's hands clenched into fists. "You ungrateful little..." I held up a finger. "Ah, careful now. Don't want to say anything you'll regret. You're destroying our home," my mother wailed. I gestured around. "No, I'm just undoing my work. Since you didn't think it was worth paying for." That's when Amanda walked in. She must have been on her way over because she stepped in, took one look around, and her jaw dropped. "Oh my God!" she whispered. "Brian, what are you doing?" I exhaled. "Mom and Dad are trying to charge me rent for the 2 months I was here. So I'm just picking up my stuff." Her head snapped in our parents' direction. "Are you serious? First you steal his money, and now you're trying to squeeze more out of him?" Mom crossed her arms. "Amanda, this is none of your business." "Of course it does. I paid him back because he deserved it. And now you're punishing him for it?" Dad stepped in. "Amanda, we are your parents. Do not raise your voice to us." "Then stop acting like entitled children," she shot back. They gasped. Really gasped. As if she had just cursed them in church. Then Mom did something I wasn't expecting. She turned to Amanda and said, "I can't believe how cheap you are." Amanda froze. "What?" "You're choosing Brian over us," Mom said, her voice dripping with disappointment. "Over your own parents." Dad shook his head. "You should be ashamed of yourselves." Amanda's face turned red. I could tell she was angry. I had never seen her look at them like that before. Then she said something that made me completely stop what I was doing. "You know what?" She reached into her purse, pulled out her house key, and threw it on the floor. "I'm done with you." Then she turned to me. "Need some help with the floors?" I grinned. "Yeah. Hand me that crowbar." Our parents watched in absolute horror as Amanda helped me tear the house apart. I thought my parents had been angry before. I thought I had seen them at their worst. I was wrong. Watching Amanda kneel next to me, pulling up floorboards like we were on some kind of home renovation reality show only in reverse, completely broke them. My mom started shaking her head over and over, as if in denial. "Amanda, stop this right now. You don't know what you're doing." Amanda didn't even look at her. "No, Mom. For the first time I understand. You're turning against us," my dad yelled. Amanda laughed under her breath. "No, Dad. I'm standing up for someone who deserves it." Then Mom started to cry. Not quiet, sensible crying. Loud, dramatic sobbing. As if she were the victim of some great betrayal. "Oh my God," she wailed. "I can't believe this is happening. After all we've done for you. For both of you." Amanda and I exchanged looks. Then Dad did something that actually made me stop. He turned to Amanda and said, "Fine. If you want to betray this family, don't bother coming to the wedding." The room fell silent. Amanda slowly stood up and grabbed the crowbar. "What?" "You heard me," he said, standing up. "If you want to side with Brian, then don't bother showing up on your big day. You and Josh can run off and live your selfish little lives without us." Mom sniffled. "That breaks our hearts, Amanda. But you leave us no choice." I waited for Amanda to snap back. To tell them they were being ridiculous. But she just stood there. Then she nodded slowly, her expression unreadable. "Okay." Mom blinked. "What?" You don't want me in the wedding? Fine. Dad scoffed. Oh, don't be ridiculous. You'll come crawling back and apologize. No. Amanda interrupted. I won't. Then she turned to me. Come on. I'm hungry. And we walked out. I expected my parents to come after us. To yell, to beg, to tell us to stop. But they didn't say a word. The silence followed us to Amanda's car. We got in, closed the doors, and drove off. We were halfway to a diner when Amanda exhaled sharply and muttered, Well, this has escalated. I looked at her. Are you okay? She gripped the wheel. Nope. But you were right. They don't respect us. They only care about themselves. I didn't know what to say. Then she snorted. Really? The look on Dad's face when I threw down my key? Totally worth it. I grinned. Yeah. And you should have seen Mom when you picked up that crowbar. Amanda laughed. Then, after a moment, she asked, What are you going to do next? I thought about it. About how they had used me, taken me for granted, and thrown a tantrum when I finally fought back. Then I smiled. Oh, I'm not done yet. Amanda and I sat in the diner for a long time, drinking coffee and talking about things we hadn't really said out loud before. How our parents had always favored her, but not in a loving way, more like she was an investment because she was getting married to someone they approved of. How they had always expected me to just do things for them, no matter how much it cost me. How either of us ever really felt loved by them, just used. At one point, Amanda shook her head. I can't believe I'm actually considering disinviting our own parents from my wedding. I raised an eyebrow. Considering? They just disinvited you. Honestly, they did you a favor. She laughed, but looked tired. Josh will freak out when I tell him. I frowned. Wait, does he know about this? She hesitated. He knows they can be difficult, but I kind of downplayed it. Amanda, I groaned. I know. I just didn't want to dump all the family drama on him. His parents are so normal, you know? Yeah, well, he's marrying into it, so he should probably know the whole picture. She sighed. You're right. I'll talk to him tonight. Then she grinned. But first, what's your next move? I grinned. Oh, you'll see. The next morning I made a few phone calls. You see, my parents had been bragging about their beautifully renovated home to everyone. Their friends, their neighbors, even their extended family. They had posted pictures on Facebook showing off their hard work. So I decided to tell people the real story. I started with a simple post. Hey everyone, remember that home renovation my parents were showing off? Fun fact, I did all the work. I paid for all the materials. And they promised to pay me back. Instead, they took the money and gave it to my sister for a vacation. Then they tried to charge me rent for the time I stayed there while they fixed her house. When my sister found out, she returned the money to me and our parents lost ID and disinvited her from her own wedding. So if you ever need a free remodel, just call my parents. They love free labor. Then I added before and after pictures. And I tagged them. And Amanda. And some relatives. Then I logged off and let the internet do its thing. I didn't expect the explosion. Within an hour, my post had dozens of comments. People were shocked. Some messaged me directly, asking if it was true. Family members were furious. Some of my parents' friends even commented things like, I can't believe they would do this to their own son. Then Amanda texted me. Amanda. OH my God, MOM is calling me 100 times. Amanda. Dad too. Amanda. I am so proud of you. Then my phone rang. I grinned when I saw my mom's name. I picked it up. Delete this post right now. She screamed. Hi Mom. Nice morning, huh? You're humiliating us. I shrugged. I was just telling the truth. You're making us look like monsters. I grinned. I mean, if the shoe fits. Then Dad got on the line. Brian, you have no idea what you just did. Oh, I think I do. People are calling us asking if this is true. Our friends. Our church group. Our family. Good. Maybe now you'll finally learn some consequences. Mom started to cry again. Brian, please. We're your parents. Funny. You didn't act like parents when you stole from me. Dad's voice grew cold. You think you won? You think you're smart? I laughed. No, Dad. I don't think I won. I know I did. Then I hung up. And it felt amazing. For the next few days, my parents did damage control. They tried everything, calling relatives to explain, writing passive-aggressive posts about family betrayal, even texting Amanda and me separately, pretending to be heartbroken victims. I ignored them. Amanda ignored them. And the world continued to spin. But I wasn't done yet. You see, my parents loved their reputation. Their house wasn't just their home, it was their image. They had spent years bragging about how perfect their lives were. Their beautifully renovated home was now their favorite topic of conversation. And I had one last surprise for them. I still had all my receipts from the renovations. And since my parents never paid me, that meant I could legally put a mechanic's lien on their house. For those who don't know, a mechanic's lien is something contractors use when homeowners don't pay for work done on their property. It basically means they can't sell or refinance the house until the debt is paid. So I filed one. For $50,000. And let me tell you, when my parents found out, they lost their minds. My mom called me screaming. My dad sent angry texts. Dad, you can't do this. Dad, this is our house. Dad, how dare you, you ungrateful brat. I just sent a text back. Me, it's only fair. Slightly smiling face. Then I blocked her. And just like that, I was done. Amanda and I moved on. She officially uninvited them from the wedding. At first they tried to act like they didn't care, but when they realized she meant it, Mom sent one last message. Amanda, please. We're your parents. We just want to be here for your special day. She left it on read. Josh, by the way, fully supported her. Turns out he always thought my parents were a little toxic, but he didn't want to go overboard. When he heard what happened, he said, yeah, no. They're terrible. Good call. As for the house, my parents had no choice but to pay off the lien. $50,000. Way more than the $8,000 they originally owed me. And the best part? They had to sell their car. Poetic justice. Amanda's wedding was beautiful. Our parents weren't there, and you know what? No one missed them. As the reception was winding down, Amanda and I were standing outside watching the sunset. She nudged me. So, do you think they learned their lesson? I grinned. Not a chance. But it's not my problem anymore. She smiled. Feels good, doesn't it? I took a deep breath. The air was clear, no tension, no stress. Just peace. Yeah, I said. It really does.